At the core of every true martial artist lies three great principles. 1. The union of mind and body, to understand one's own limits, so when the time comes, you can break them. Number 2. To learn the way of true art, to learn it all. Whatever comes your way, you understand it, you embrace it, you become one with it. And 3. To let it all go. Hello everyone, this is the Holy Hermit, and today we're looking at a new monk build for Diablo 3. This is one of the most interesting builds I've found so far. I am very proud to bring it to you, so without further ado, I show you the ultimate monk build for up to monster power 10s in Diablo 3. Your knowledge of skill kneels to no one. It is the only wealth you possess in this game, the one no one can take away from you. With that in mind, we're going to look at our skill setup, starting off with Fist of Thunder and Lightning Flash to give you a dodge chance increase by 16% for 2 seconds. Sweeping Wind with Firestorm, the radius has been increased to hit more people around you. Dashing Strike with Blinding Speed, more dodge chance for 3 seconds. Serenity, your only heal-centric rune, also grants you immunity. Inner Sanctuary with Forbidden Palace, when you're standing in it, you deal more damage. Mantra of Evasion with Backlash, when you dodge, you reflect damage back, 81%. Sixth Sense, your dodge chance increased by 30% of your critical hit chance. One with Everything. And to round it all up, we have Guardian Path to give us more dodge chance. As far as gears go, well, I'm not a big fan of that, but we all have to wear something or the other, so if you want to know what kind of gear I have a video for you. You can look into my gear, my exact specifications I go for. Anyways, moving on further, you saw quite a few dodge skills in there. Almost all of my skills had something related with dodge. Well, there's a reason for it. This is a highly dodge-centric build, but none like any other you've seen before. This build actually gains DPS from every time you have a chance to dodge enemies. The idea for a true martial artist, of course, is to get never hit at all in the first place, and that is the principle we're going after. So, I'm fighting these elites over here, and there's a principal effect I want to show you, is my dodge chance is very high throughout the entirety of fight. I start off with a humble 2600 DPS with me, and I have these two passives equipped on me, which grant me additional, well, dodge chance. That is, well, the Guardian's Path, which you're all familiar with, and Sixth Sense that most people don't use. Whatever your crit chance is, 30% of that will be added to your dodge chance. So you do see these numbers stacking up now. Of course, to round it all up, we have, well, Mantra of Evasion with it's not hard target this time now, is it? So it's not one of the most familiar runes you've seen so far. Instead, we're using Backlash, something unique, something again that deals the most damage, is the heart of where my DPS comes from, really. So you see all these dodge skills adding up, but that's not all really. Every time I'm hitting someone with Fists of Thunder, I am gaining more dodge chance. Well, if that was not enough, I also have Dashing Strike. I run towards the target, I sprint to the heart of where the fight is. I don't stand on corners, I go in the very heart, and Dashing Strike allows me to do that. To add something more to it, I gain even more dodge chance, 20% increase for 3 seconds. So you can see these numbers piling up. Of course our dodge chance would not get a flat out 100% increase, because that would mean we'll be invincible, but my dodge chance at the very end, when I'm doing my thing, fighting these monsters, sprinting from here to there, hitting them with Fist of Thunder, is at least 90% or more. Well, the maths could be done, but we're not here to look into that. We're here to look into the whole more secret of this build. Where is all this damage coming from? We move on to the next rune, of course. We're going to look at Forbidden Palace, a skill almost never ever being used by monks in this game. Quite a shame, really. It is useful, as you'll see in this video. So this rune allows me to push monsters away. When there's too many of them near me, when it's an overwhelming odds, as you'll see later on, well, things are going to change. Now before I move further, you do see me playing on Monster Power 5, and as I promised, it works on Monster Power 10. So I will stay true to my promise, and I'll show you a final video of me fighting an elite on Monster Power 10. Well, the sole reason being it takes about half an hour to kill an elite with my DPS, but the principle still stays the same. In my humble opinion, that's what makes this build so amazing. that even on a low DPS such as mine, that is 128k, I can still easily dispatch elites on monster power 10, whereas the hardest of hardest people with the highest amount of DPS struggle to do that. Well, if they can actually do it, they would go for always the similar cookie cutter build that we're used to. So we have a new build, and as I always say, the power comes from the build, not for having an elite gear. Even a moderate gear like mine, I can perform decently well. So you'll see me throughout the video fighting through lots of monsters in Inferno Monster Power 5, and in the end we'll move on to Monster Power 10. So I talked about Forbidden Palace, why it's useful. It's useful for pushing away elites. Whenever you're cornered, whenever you're under a certain effect or something, well, you can cast it. When odds are against you, they're all gonna run away. And a few of them will come back eventually, so you stand in there and you deal additional 10% damage. I thought about replacing my, well, Fist of Thunder rune with Deadly Reach, but I found out the increased dodge chance from Lightning Flash is something I wouldn't want to give up. Another thing, when monsters have these other effects apart from the horrible lightning or reflect damage that is, they also have fire chains. Now to counter that, I always use Dashing Strike. Well, I always go around when there's a fire chain I see, I'm going to teleport to the next bit that you'll see me in other videos over here. So like these elites over here, they do all possess fire chains, and I don't want to be caught in the middle, of course. Normally you would maneuver slowly around your opponent, but now I can instantly Dashing Strike away from them and even gain an increased dodge chance. What I am after in this video, so to speak, is to always have monsters attacking me. I want them to try and hit me. That's what I want. They're not going to succeed, of course, and this is where the secret will come from that I'll talk about later. So the bigger the group for us, the better we're going to perform. I showed you a similar build where we had reflect damage, where we wanted to get hit, and we could heal ourselves, but you know, we could also share the damage with them. In this one, the principal idea is to not to get hit ever, and that's why you see me only using Serenity in the game, with only a little healing rule to it. Not a lot of healing is coming out from it now, is it? Well, I do have Serenity, but I'm not using it that often. I will use it on Monster Power 10, of course, but right now, it's not really an essential thing. So what I do over here, you always see me running into an elite pack, and I'll talk about the dodge bit. So we have all this high dodge, but what good is it really? It's giving you high dodge chance, but you want to dispatch monsters quickly. Now I've told you my DPS, and I'm a Monster Power 5. We all can agree they have a significant amount of DPS now, and if you look at my fights, they are ending quite quickly now, are they not? With all these trash mobs, or so you want to call them. And the secret, of course, is, well, the backlash from Mantra of Evasion. Every time I dodge, every time a dodge is initiated, I deal damage to them, 81% damage back. So all this high dodge that I have on me, at least a base dodge chance of what, 65%, and when I buff it, it can even go up to 90% even. Well, with that, I am dodging 9 out of 10 attacks almost, all the time that is, because I'm always Dashing Strike between. As soon as I have some spirit, I will not stay still. I will Dashing Strike to an opponent that gets me away from the battle, gives me a little breathing room, and I can always, well, have a high dodge chance. When I do get hit, I reflect damage back. It's not really reflect damage in its own principle, it is almost like, well, dealing damage. Now you see me moving on to Monster Power 10. It's probably one of the hardest places there is. And to, well, make things even worse, we have a Molten elite there. So that is a bane for almost everyone. My resists are quite okay. My armor is quite okay. Well, I have an armor of 4700, so that's, again, it's okay, but it's not overpowered to begin with. So you do see me where the damage is coming from now. The on-sheet DPS only says 128k, but all this hidden damage every time I'm, well, dodging the attacks and I'm hitting them back, that is quite significantly high. It's not something you see on the screen now, is it? There is no Blazing Wrath or Blinding Flash that gives you extra DPS. It's always the base DPS, but all this dodge that I'm doing, the more they're trying to hit me, the more I'm dodging, well, I'm reflecting damage back, and that helps me to clear mobs quite easily. So now you see me here. Normally people would kite on Monster Power 10, that's what almost every class does. But me at the moment, I'm at the very heart of the battle. I'm always in the middle, and when the odds become too overwhelmingly high, I will cast my Inner Sanctuary. Well, that is a sanctuary after all, it heals me. So, dodging is pretty important, and this is exactly what I'm trying to do. And well, when you move on to further parts in your game, when you have high enough DPS, clearing this kind of stuff would be a lot easier. Even now, if you see on the screen, there's so much molten stuff on the ground that I'm taking tons of damage. That's something I can't reflect back, but I am, reflecting back physical damage. And a little secret I'll tell you, my final secret so far of this build, is backlash, as in mantra of evasion. This attack that you see, well, every time you hit someone, you proc lifesteal. So every time I'm doing this, I am gaining life back if I have lifesteal on my weapons. And if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I do use 2 daggers, high attack speed. That's what I'm after. The faster I attack, the more life I steal. Times that with backlash, well, I heal as quickly as I can. Alright then, to sum it all up, this build relies on a very high dodge chance, more than the conventional normal dodge chance, that is. And the DPS also comes from having a high dodge chance. Times that with your lifesteal, you gain lots of survivability even on higher monster powers. This has been the Holy Hermit for you. I hope you enjoyed this video series of mine. Of course, I'll be making more of these in the future. The more I learn, the more I'll share. And this is what I'm here to do then. I hope you all have a nice evening ahead. I'm out now. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.